investments, all of those things, maybe your business, personal, all the money hacks you can share with us this morning. Can you?
Okay, so first of all, you have to sell more, right? You have to sell more. So once you've been able to sort that out, because again, around that, marketing, having to sell your brand. I came in late. I came in while the last speaker was speaking, and he said shamelessly talk about your brand. Remember, I said that I was an introvert, but business has made me an extroverted introvert. I don't know how to explain that to you, but just figure that out. And so I will always say that my professional life is different from my personal life, right? So because I'm an introvert doesn't mean that I also have to just be quiet, right? And thankfully, the the services that we provide to people is such an amazing transformation that even on its own it sells already. So I would say that first of all, sell more. Second of all, like I mentioned earlier, cut costs at all costs, right? Um, there are times or there'll be seasons where you have so much, and because of how economies are, they go up, they go down, go up, go down. So when you have so much, that's not the time that you now say, oh, you know what, guess what, I've arrived, let me go and buy Range Rover, or I've arrived, let me go and buy 1 million naira here, or let me go and buy. No, because if you also look at the times of Joseph as well, there was abundance, right, for 7 years. And when the famine came, it was from where how they had already saved, managed the resources, right, and that's how they could sort out everyone, and even people from outside, they were still able to benefit from that. Your money is a defense, and you must be able to use it to defend you. Because there are some times where some people. I don't know if it happens to you. Sometimes when you don't have money, your mood will be down. As in that's when you just be cranky and all that. But then once you just have like money like this, another all high, right? But don't allow because of some decisions that you've made, you'll be allowing the money to be taking you up and down, up and down. So I would say that extremely cut costs at all costs. There's some expenses, there's some things that you ask yourself, do I really need it now? Right? So practice delayed gratification. There's something that I can afford today. Like I'll just stand up now, go to that store, pick it up, and then go. But I won't do that because I have some principles. If I want to get liability, if I want to get liability, so maybe like a car, for example, it has to be 5% of my entire um, worth, not self worth. You get like what is in reserve. If it's not up to that, I would not even bother to get it. But some people, even if you want to get to car now, like it can be the entire 100%. You just sweep it and go. Those are not wise financial decisions. One thing that we do as a company when we get projects, immediately we already calculate what the profit will be. So we are not even planning to make any loss in the first place. So we'll calculate what the profit is. So profit before tax and profit before expenses, we put that aside. And then we also calculate what the expenses will be, like, salaries, all that, spread it. Whatever that is now remaining, we have an investment account, and then we, sweep it immediately, because once you see the money, that's when different things will start arising. And so you sweep it out. So some of the things that we started doing in the recent years is immediately, we have like a bulk, we immediately convert to dollars first, right? First, and that way you're already edging your money against inflation, in against devaluation. So I remember last year, April, when we were going to do an investment, dollar was still about 480, right? And so please, who knows how much dollar is today? I mean, I'm talking about black market, because obviously you know that you cannot get bank rates, right? Today it's about 600. So in between last year and this year, we've converted dollars almost 4 or 5 different rates, right? But it's very painful. But unfortunately, you just have to do that. So that's one thing that you do, because once you convert first to dollars, even if you don't invest it, you just keep it. You already have value, right? And so the further thing that we then do is then invest in different things. I don't invest in things that I don't understand, right? I heard the last speaker talking about crypto. I think that's the only thing right now that is still giving me headache. Like I don't know, right? And so I know that people are cashing out and they're making so much money, but I don't understand it yet. and so I would not yet invest. There are other things that that I invest in. I would also say that also be financial. Have financial literacy. So that's how I'll answer that question.
Thank you so much. All right, still on money. Have you made any bad decision with your money before? And how
So
do you handle it?
the way you ask me how do I handle it, I've not yet told you whether I've had or not. But no, interestingly, like I've actually not had financial mistake, and I know that it might sound like I'm trying to sound perfect, or I'm trying to sound like I don't have challenge. In fact, I'm trying to tell God that God, please give me small challenge so that I can be able to share my experiences. But I think that it also goes first from having to sit down, count your cost, having proper knowledge, because sometimes the mistakes that we make is because of ignorance, or it's because of we don't know better, right? And so for me, that's why I said one of the best decisions that I had, or that I made, was financial literacy, understanding some things. And so for me, it might be, I take risks, but I don't take like drastic risk, right? Calculated risk. So my risk appetite, I would say, is mid, right? So it's not so low and it's not so high. It's about mid range. And so that has really helped, and that has really guided. There are times where I've tried to make some decisions, and I won't even lie to you. This one was already like done, deal, delivered, and just having to speak to one or two people, and then because as an entrepreneur, I'm very emotional in my head. Have you ever seen a business plan fail before? I mean, like, you're starting out a business, you've done a business plan. Have you ever seen it fail? No, I don't mean that when you've executed, though. Like when you are writing the business plan on paper. Eh? Exact, exactly. Like, you first year, oh, I'm making 500,000. Second year, I'm going to make 2 million naira. By the third year, I'm making 5 million naira. By the fifth year, I'm making 10 million naira. You've written. Do you inside it right? By the sixth year, I'll make a loss of 5 million. Do you do that? You don't do that. But guess what? When reality hits, does it not happen? It happens, right? So as an entrepreneur, you can be very emotional. You're just thinking it can never fail, it can never fail, and then you're not really thinking about the alternatives, right? So I've had like a serious, like 2 years ago, I was going to make a costly mistake for my business, right? I was actually going to pump in millions of naira into something, and having after sitting down with two, three people, including my husband, who, again, when I say my husband, when I'm talking about him in business, I talk about him as a business consultant, not as my husband, right? So forgive me as I'm saying husband. It's not just because of love. It's really because I understand that he's also my business. And so we sat down, and then obviously I was very defensive, and I'm like, no, it's kind of, no, that's not true. It will work, and so they gave me logical steps and reasons to see why it would not work. And I'm like, okay, no problem. So maybe we'll fast forward this. And right now, I'm so glad that I did not make that decision. And so if I had made that decision, maybe I'll be sitting down now and telling you that that was my worst business financial decision. But because of counsel, and Bible says that in the multitude of counsel, there's what? There's safety.
So much. So there's something that she said, but didn't really say. You have to know a lot, like increase your knowledge base, right? So you can't just jump into business or jump into whatever without knowing how to do this thing, what to do. And then how she's saying it, like it's just very easy. She knows book. Right? It's very obvious that you're very knowledgeable. So you can't just make costly mistakes because of ignorance. You have to know the nitty gritty of whatever that you're getting into or what you're already into. Yes, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And then, sorry, just to add to that, right? You will see that some of our, say, fathers, grandfathers, some of them that did not go to school, and then they are business savvy, very business. So I mean, my great grandfather, God bless his soul, he didn't go to school, but he was like one of the first, billionaires in the country. And you cannot take 1 naira from his pocket without you accounting for it, right? And these are people that some of us, right, Gen Zs, millennials, we just do like business plan, we do this, we do that. We don't go into the nitty-gritty, like you said. Some of us, the products that we are working on, we've not even tested it on people, on human beings. We're just assuming that it would work. So yeah.
Thank you so much. And there's even the part of this thing, it can cause headache. So sometimes you just want to just chill and not give yourself that headache because it is a lot
It's a
of
lot of
work. But at the end of the day, what do you really, really want? So we can't be dreaming of saying, okay, we want to carry our business to nations, or we want Obama to wear our clothes, and we're not doing the work. The Lord help
Well,
us. It is well.
amen.
Oh. All right. Okay. Still on money. All right. I don't know if we asked this already. How can we accelerate finances for our business?
How can we accelerate finance? So can you like explain that question? Or if I understand well, I would just say maybe you're asking, how we can grow like our finances.
Have small money. So how can that small money work for us? How can we use it to push what we already want or what we want to have?
I think that we've actually answered that question, but I will still, attempt it anyways. Like I said earlier, it still boils down to cutting your costs at all costs, eliminating all excesses, investing the money. You know, um, we've been charged by the last speaker that we should earn in dollars this time next year when he comes back. People should be giving testimonies. Oh, how I made my first $100,000, and things like that. So I would say that growing your business and understanding um, and practicing delayed gratification, like I said earlier, and then also owning your skills and improving on your skills every day. Every day, right? Every day, you owe it to yourself and you owe it to people that you're serving. Once you do that, it's just a matter of time that your finances will swell up.
Okay, so swell up. All right. So let's do personal questions, right? Do you guys have questions for her yet? Because we're about to round up our session. Questions, please note them. Um, all right. So your life, right? How are you able to manage all the things that you do? So authentic, the foundation, the complete woman. I don't know what would you refer to that as? And then we say that you work with Madam Ibuku and Washika. You have this group, Sha. You guys are always doing plenty things. So how are you able to manage?
Sure, none of them suffers.
And tell us so.
um, all right, interesting question. I think that if I had like $1 million for every time that I'm asked this question, perhaps I'll be answering this question from the metaverse or something. I'm always asked this question, and it's so beautiful to answer. So first off, I would say that just permits me. Life is in seasons, life in stages. I remember that now, right, I'm able to do all these things, come here, go there, attend this, have lunch with my friends, still run a successful company, do the foundation and all that. But if you're asking me this question 10 years ago, in fact, if you see me on the road, now my friends, they tell me that I am now slaying. I say, I thank God. Glory to Jesus. Master J. We thank God. I mean, I'm not even kidding you. My oldest staff, she told me, she said, Mrs. Rainey, your life has changed. And I'm so grateful to God. Because I remember there are days where we are going for a meeting. I've already entered the car. I've gotten to the destination. I realized that I'm wearing two different, not even slippers, so bathroom slippers. I've either maybe forgotten my wig or something. Just to give you the picture of where I'm starting from. All those things people not see it on Instagram, right? That was the days where I was starting, right? That was like, and fortunately for me, I always said that I had twins because it was the year that I gave birth that I started my business. And so imagine growing a business and growing a baby and even growing a young family. It was not chaotic in Jesus' name, but you understand, I did not have a life of my own. If you had called me to come for party that time, in fact, you cannot even see me to give me the invitation. Do you see? And so all those years, the years of building, I do not take it for granted. And so some people will see me now, and then you are just starting, and then you're trying to compare. It's not fair actually on you, because I've done the work. I'm still doing the work. And so now that, and again, money, using money as a tool, sending money on errand are some of the things that helps me now. Now I have a team, I don't have to, if we have a project now, I don't actually have to start and finish. There are people, their structure and their processes that someone starts it and they finish it. All I'm just doing is, oh, thank you so much for contacting, for giving us this project. Some days, some clients don't even see me. In fact, I feel like some people don't even know me, and that's even fine. Maybe just on Instagram, some people would go through my business page and then find me on my personal page, right? But what I'm just saying is that now, I have resources that I can use to delegate. I can delegate, and so business isn't suffering. For the foundation, thankfully, this year we became 1 year. And then when we were starting out last year, we had over 100 people sign up to be volunteers, right? And then we have a team, the project director, all of that. Again, it goes back to delegating. And so I would say every morning when I wake up, I have almost about 30 to 40 things to do every single day. But guess what? At the end of my planning and all that, I might only be required to do only 2 or 3 things. The rest has been delegated. And people will usually say, oh, maybe because you have money, you can pay somebody. There are some times where it's just goodwill or, oh, okay, just asking for help. One thing about me, if you know me very well, I'm not afraid to ask for help. I'm not ashamed. Like, please, I need help me, right? And most times, people are so sweet, people are so nice that they would actually help. So it doesn't have to be, oh, because I don't have money, I cannot ask for help. So those are, some of the things that have also helped me. And then prioritizing as well. What are the things that are important to me? Family is very, very important to me. Family, very, very. So yeah, so that's how, I would answer that question.
You guys, it's how you're allowing Monica clap for herself. That's annoying.
Don't worry, I clap for myself. Even if they are clapping, I celebrate myself a lot, so I'm already used to it. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, but I want them to just give it. All right. So is this timer right? Is it? All right. Okay. I think we can do questions now. Have you guys learned anything today? Okay, before we have the questions, would you mind giving us like take home advice? What's your say the last words? But just share something, give us some rev, anything.
Let me come back to that. As I'm preparing, let them ask their question.
Okay, she'll prepare. So questions, guys.
Any question? I mean, teacher, I can just pick somebody in the audience.
I see hands in the back. I really wanted us to have those cool things. You can put your questions on BITL /
I think somebody has a question. Uncle, this one that you're wearing suits, please let your question be gentle. Thank you. I'm just joking.
Good morning. Thank you so much for the amazing session. So my question is around competition, right? You're in a very competitive space. How do you handle competition?
Thank you so much. That's very, very interesting. I think that for me, it's either I'm collaborating with my colleagues or I'm competing with myself. I think that's how I would just answer that question. Is it enough? If it's not enough, you can tell me, I can expatiate. Sorry? It's fine. Fantastic.
I know, I'll see what.
All right. Thank you so much for the session. I learned a lot. But there's a statement you kept making, like repeatedly, cut cost at all costs. Can you give like a practical example of what you mean by that?
Fantastic. All right. So, which one? All right. So, for example, um, the kind of business that I run, interior design, it doesn't really require. I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this. It doesn't really require that I have like a physical um, space. I'll give an example. So in the 9 years that we've been running, we don't have an office, right? And it might sound, why don't you have an office? It's not like we cannot afford to have an office. But I thought about it and I said, 90% of our staff strength, in fact, 95% of our staff strength, they are required to always resume on a site, right? The only people that are required to come to the office will be the account officer and the head of operations, right? The others, they have to be on site, except for the design guys who do like our 3Ds and all of that. And so I said, would I now take up a space, we are running costs just for two people? Meanwhile, the others are just going to. So what can we do? And so what we do is every week on Mondays, we have, thankful for technology, we have like our Zoom meetings online. And then we have every first Monday of the month, we then have a physical meeting in a co-working space, right? Which is conducive, built for purpose co-working spaces. And then we have like our meetings there, strategize for the entire month. And then the rest is now like on Zoom and all that. That has cut serious cost for us, so that those excess monies, we can actually pump it into something else, build our reserves. We can even pay people better. I mean, during COVID year, 2020, when everybody sat down at home and people were cutting, salaries or not even paying salaries at all, we paid salaries, we paid bonuses, we even also, made ensure that everybody took trainings, so that we're not just sitting down. So, and we paid for the trainings as well. So again, it just boils down to the fact that, we're not just cutting costs, there's a reason for it. And it takes me back to the competition, that he had mentioned, right? I can actually see another colleague and say, oh my goodness, they have like their own office or like showroom, because of the business that I do. Most people would, then do showrooms, right? And I'm saying, okay, that's not where my business, is going to. I don't want a showroom. I don't want to show you people that, there is money or anything. But just sitting down and counting the cost. Sometimes when you're starting out a business, you need to understand, the economics of it. Like, what do I really need? I don't know if you've seen people that, and now, like, we just need to even take advantage of social media. There's some people that on just their laptops, right? That's all that they need, or even their phones. That's all that they need, and they are making millions of money. Gone are the days where you say, "Oh, I have like about 100 staff and all that." If you can, some people only 3 staff because of the way technology is. You don't need 100 people. You don't need 50 people. You don't need, except when you actually do need it. But then you have to ask yourself, do I really need it? And as an entrepreneur, you need to keep asking yourself these questions all this. So that's like one of the ways that we've been able to, cut costs at all costs, right? I cannot even tell you how much that alone has saved my business, right? I've not had to pay one drop of diesel before, right? And then for the other guys, just set them up. So the 3D guys, for example, that have to be working on their laptops, we set up their homes for them to be able to work. And Lagos, the way Lagos is, right, it doesn't make sense for me. I don't think that it makes sense that you will leave home maybe 5 a.m., you won't get to work till like 8, 9, that's already 4 hours. Then you're working maybe another 8 hours. You leave home, you leave the office around 4, you don't get home till like 9, 10. That's already productive hours gone. Right? And so my people are thinking, they are not stressed. Sometimes, when we are even under pressure, they don't mind working till late hours because they know that, okay, I'm not even just facing Lagos traffic alone. So those are some of the things that I've sat down. And so before people started doing this hybrid, having to work from home. We have been working from home since 9 years ago, right? And so you see people that come and be asking us how we've been able to, to work with us. So again, that's why I said, just competing with yourself and understanding what works for you. What the business model that works for me will be different from the business model that works for Adora. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay, can I just ask or say something about cutting costs too? So if I don't think cutting costs as maybe like a product owner or a service provider and say, okay, you're supposed to deliver hair that is supposed to be worth 500K. You're not going to buy the one that is 50,000 because...
No. That's
I know,
not
but like, would
clarify,
you talk about that a bit? Like, how can we just have integrity in delivering, in service delivery, and not, it's different.
Yes, in fact, you've already even answered the question that you are trying to ask me. It's just integrity, right? Someone will not give me 50 naira or 100 naira to for this bottle of water, and then I then go and find pure water and then pour it inside it and then sell to you. Meanwhile, that may be 5 naira or something, and then the remaining 95 pocket it. I need to be able to match the value, right, with what I'm being paid. And so, because just a matter of time, people would know, and then people that are really offering the value that they're offering, people will just divert to that place. And it just, speaks to your values as a person. And integrity is like really, really, really key. It's not something that you just hang in your office and say, I have integrity, my core values. No, you have, in my own, again, that's why I say, sit down and, on my core values in my organization, because of the kind of person that I am, our core values, let me tell you, so it is professionalism, integrity, innovation, excellence, and excitement. And that excitement has to do with enjoyment. And so that's why in my company, enjoyment, if you're not enjoying your life, if you're not excited, is a KPI. Like when we are doing exactly, when we are doing performance review, it's part of it too. Like we ask you, how excited are you on a scale of 1 to 5? If you say 2, it reduces your overall this. If we say 4, and we also determine as well. And as a company also, we also have like packages, care. In fact, don't let me start. So it also just, for me, I sat down as well, thought about it, that what is important to me and to my people, right? And so that's why I said each business is different. You don't just have to copy and paste. You need to sit down and then plan your life and plan your business.
We can take one more question and then next session. Yes, ma'am.
Morning. Thank
Morning.
you very much for that session. So I have 2 questions for you. Sorry. My question is, your business 9 years ago, and your business now. What do you say? Has been your learning points, challenges and learning points? Then my second question is, for startups right now, how do you advise them to bring themselves out? Let me say advertise themselves, like make themselves known, because I know it might not have really been a very easy journey. Do you understand? In 9 years, but how do you make your brand known in this current economy? Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for your question. I'll answer the last one first. So we've been blessed by social media. Gone are the days where, say 20 years ago, where the media was only TV, newspaper, and we know how expensive that can be, radio, jingles, and stuff like that. And so now we have the advantage of social media. And now it's not more about, oh, I don't have money, or it now has to do with you having to be out there yourself, right? So I think that it's now on you strategizing and saying to yourself, say, Pastor Dami, do you think that, it's easy to always just be in your front and, all the wise words that he drops and all of that? He could have decided to just, be in his corner and, just come to church, preach to you guys and go back home. But then, you have to put yourself out there. Like that one, nobody's going to do it for you. You have to actually, take action and do it for yourself. And like I said, we are blessed by social media now. So it depends. Somebody can wake up today and be viral. That's the interesting thing about this thing. Gone are days where you have to walk before you are now known. Now, somebody like 16-year-old can wake up now. Next tomorrow, you don't blow. Like I mean, again, that's also very realistic because sometimes empty barrel. But let's not even go into that discussion yet. So I feel like you can actually you have the power to be out there and shamelessly just advertise your goods. If you have confidence with your full chest that your products are amazing, then you should have no problems advertising and advertise shamelessly. That's one. Then two, the second question was my advice 9 years ago and now. I would say that yeah, um, always strive for excellence. That's one thing that is non-negotiable in my books. There are days where starting out, right? And I don't know if I have the time to quickly share this story. Do I have the time? So there are those days where people would actually pay us because we're just starting out, and the profit was very slim. But because of that, I would not compromise on excellence and quality. And at the time, it felt like I was being stupid because there are days where I have the option of just giving them the basic that they've paid for, or going the extra mile and knowing that yes, this might reduce my quality, my profits a bit, but I don't mind. At the end of the day, I want to be able to come back to this place in 5 years, 10 years time, and be proud that we did this work. So I'll quickly give a quick story. Under 30 seconds, I would try. There was this project that we had. The profit on the project was 80,000 naira. And when I got into, they wanted to do a baby nursery. And when we got into, we did every other thing. So we costed for a wardrobe. There was this wardrobe, and they were living in, I think, Old Yaba or something. And so this wardrobe has been, very long. And I knew that if we did not change it, it would affect the overall renovation that we were doing. Even though, we were changing the curtains, the paints, the furniture, everything. And so I asked the client that, please, can we change this? And the client is like, this is a rented apartment. My landlord, it might even increase my salary, my rent. But we don't. I thought about it. I said, if I leave it, the client is not complaining, right? I'm the one that is suggesting this. But I also know that it will not enhance to the fullest maximum. And so I had to make a decision. And if I was going to change that wardrobe, it would cost the exact 80,000 naira profit. I'd like to ask you, would you change it or you not change it? Eh? If I would change it, raise your hand up. If you will not change it, please raise your hand. Don't be shy. Don't worry. Okay, no problem. Anyways, I think that I just sat down. I shed one or two tears because I knew that this I'm about to do, I will pay for it dearly. And so I changed it, right? And the clients, they were grateful and all of that, but they did not send me, so they did not even still give me 1 naira out of it. So I imagine doing that project, your sweat and everything for almost like a month. So the 80,000 naira I was supposed to get nothing. But 2 weeks after, my client's friend comes to the house. He's a bachelor. He comes to greet him. They were talking and all of that. And then the guy just mentions that I'm moving to a 3-bedroom apartment, and I'm so busy at work, yada yada yada, and I don't even know how to do this. And then my clients, because they were in the house, the guy said, "Oh, there's this lady that just did our baby nursery. That's okay. She can help you." And the guy said, "Oh, can I see the work that she did?" So it wasn't even about a phone call. This one, they were going to mark my scripts even behind my behind me. So the guy said, "Okay, no problem." And so they walk to the room, right? And the guy sees the entire thing, and he's impressed. But guess what? If the wardrobe was the way it was, my client will not remember to tell him that, "Oh, by the way, the reason we are saying that wardrobe like that is because we told her not to," right? And so immediately, so these are some of the things that you also really need to think about, right? I'm sure you've gone somewhere where you saw somebody's hair. Imagine our lovely ladies here. You see her hair outside and you're like, "Oh my goodness, your hair is so beautiful. Where did you do it?" Just assume she was not the one that did it. It was someone else. right there on the spot, she will give the person their contact. And so that's already marketing without you even being there. And so the guy calls me on the phone, right there, and he says, "Oh, I saw your work. It's really beautiful. Are you available? Yada yada yada. Are you available Saturday?" I said, "Oh, okay. You know what? Let me call you back. Let me check my schedule. I don't have anything doing in my life that time, but I needed to form. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I needed to form. So I called the car. I remember that day. I remember clearly. I was inside the car. I just turned up the music for like 2 minutes, listened to music. I pick up my phone back and I say, "Oh, hi." I just checked my schedule and I think that it was because he said, "Are you ready? Are you available 8 a.m. Saturday?" So I don't want to say, "Oh, yes, I'm available." I said, "You know what? Can we make it around 9?" And he's like, "Okay, yes, no problem. That's fine. Once I'm done from the gym." Yada, yada. Cut long story short, we went to the place. From everything to the T. The 3-bedroom apartment, we furnished it, did everything. You see that money that we did not make on that his other friend? We made it like times 20. Exactly. And so when we did that one, this same guy as well, this bachelor guy, he now had housewarming. As he had housewarming, people came again to the house. About 9 people collected our contact. Out of the 9, about 3 called us. One called us and said, "Oh, that my wife just went to give birth in America, and we are moving to a 5-bedroom duplex in Lekki, and I don't have time, yada 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 yada. Are you available?" What am I doing in my life? Of course. And so that one again, and I think that was even the first job that we're going to be doing on the island, and with that capacity. And so we did that as well. And then when his wife came back, the Igbo, when they came back, they had like this Christine, or I don't know what they call him. Yeah. And so people came again. "Oh, your house is so beautiful. Your house is so beautiful. Your house is so beautiful. Please, can you give us the contact?" Out of one of them, it was a commercial space. And so that opened doors to our first commercial project. Inside that one again, we had a client that just bought another house. And this one, it was one of the, we literally tore the whole house down and we did it. When that same person, got transferred by his company, a very big multinational, to Rwanda, he said when he got there, he had his house. In fact, where he was living, the president's daughter too was living, just to let the kind of. Cut long story short, they were going to give him interior designers in Rwanda. And he said, "No, I have to fly in my own interior designer." I know. And so they flew me in, with my team. We went, by the time I got to the airport, Prado waiting for me, my name written. "Oh, hi, Miss Molay, come meet me." Went, I was in one of their top hotels, at the time, did, and came back. And so I'm just, and that's like has opened so many other doors. And so for me, it's just taking you back to having at the core of your business and whatever it is that you do, that excellence cannot be overrated. You serve an excellent God, right? So even if it will cost you, you just know that the reward, as they say, the reward is in heaven, but your reward is also on earth, right? And do not ever, no matter, like this thing that, my husband says, do not reduce, how do I say, do not reduce what you're being paid. I've already mixed it up now. So basically, do not reduce your worth to what you're being paid, right? So basically, if you feel like your value is 500,000 and somebody is paying you 100,000, right? Do not now reduce your worth to what you're being paid, because inside of it, you would gain so much. So I think I hope I've been able to answer that question. And I think that will be my closing remarks, right? Excellence, should not be non-negotiable. Ensure that everything that you do, whether as an entrepreneur, as a career person, there's some people that are entrepreneurs. So you work at a firm or at a company and you're actually working as if you're an entrepreneur. Your boss can, trust you to own responsibility and own the task that has been given to you. And that way, you're considered for promotion. It's just so much, right? As opposed to just saying, they are just paying me 200,000 naira. They should not kill me. I cannot come and kill myself. Please strive for excellence. And hard work doesn't kill.
Guys, that was a beautiful end to a wonderful session. Can you guys just rise up as we just say a big thank you to Miss Monica this morning?
Thank you for having me.
All right,
We're going to do it again, so allow us to do it again. Can we say a big thank you to Miss Morenica?
Thank you.
Thank you so much, man. That was beautiful. Thank you for the insight. We learned a lot. Are we allowed to follow you on Instagram?
Why not?
What did you say?
We're allowed to follow
just
you on
follow you.
Instagram.
My Instagram is open.
I'm allowed to send you
I didn't
DM.
padlock it. You can.
Right. You can reach
You can
out on
send
her
me a DM
Instagram.
as well.
All right, we take some quick pictures at the moment. Please just jam your hands together for our guest. And of course, a great job done by Uche Agbara too as well. Fantastic. Let's have our seats. Wow, I love the session so much. Ma'am, I should just let you know, the part where you were talking about, the values of the organization, you now stopped at the benefits and say later, so that will not apply. Please, we have to say on the other side and let us know the full benefits. There are 5 children waiting in the house. We want to know if we can pitch our tents. It's very necessary. Okay. All those core values, I have them. In fact, all right, amazing. Please let's jam our hands together again one more time. Just to let you know, we have the convenience right there at the back to the extreme right. For some of you, you've probably just been wondering, all I've been seeing are just stores. Do I enter one of them? Please don't enter one of them. Ensure that you find the right convenience where you can actually do the business. It's very important. It's just right there, extreme right at the back. Okay? And those that will be pitching to as well, just to let you know that the media team would like to have your slides. Please make your way to the back. For those that will be pitching, make your way to the media team at the back to drop your slides just before the pitching actually commences. Wow, great session right there. How many of you are blessed? How many of you have been blessed so far? Great. I love it. This thing about being extroverted, introverted keeps coming up, right? I think it's like a big concern for a lot of people. I'm extroverted, I'm introverted, and all of that. Let me just drop the bomb once and for all. One thing you need to understand that there is nobody that is completely extroverted and completely introverted. I think that will help you. So it's either than introverted, more introverted than extroverted, and we have people that are actually a balance of both worlds. They call them the ambiverts too as well. So if you do 20%, 15%, but you have a bit of introvertedness in you, even though you are the very highly extroverted person, and the same thing applies both ways too as well. So that's why for the introverted self, there's an extroverted element of you that can put to work, as a speaker, as a salesperson, everybody has it. And there's the little bit of the introverted self that we can put in the extroverted person that can help you particularly as well. So please don't bug your head over all of that, and then particularly just do what you have to do to sell your market. Like Paul Fo said, sell your what? It's not market, it's market. Yeah, there's a difference in those markets. All right, at this point in time, just to let you know, we'll be taking a 15-minute leg and water break so that we feel a bit energized and refreshed. This is the time where you don't only drink water or just walk away. This is a time where you walk to people, network, introduce yourself, bond, and just exchange ideas, thoughts, communicate things that you've learned from the session and all of that. And then it will help you. We'll be back in the next 15 minutes. It's 12 on the dot. See you at 12:15 on the dot. Thank you very much. Just to let us know that we have, food downstairs too as well that you can actually, patronize and buy for a friend, buy for a business partner, and all of that. So please make your way downstairs, exchange ideas, meet people. But let's be back at 12:15 on the dot. Thank you very much.
àdúrà ti gba àdúpẹ́ ìyàwó ti dé mo ṣọpẹ́ I'm in love kó má lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ èmi sílẹ̀kẹ̀ ò ní fẹ́ tẹ́ ìfẹ́ ìyá. When the spirit is upon me, leave them, let them carry go. I will surely outrun it. Cause Oluwa is involved. So I don't listen to the noise. Plenty chariots they run for my front. But when I begin my run, it go be like say I dey on steroids. Yeah, but Elijah level. I want started to Ferrari low. It's my normal level. I want started to Ferrari low. So I'm more than able. I want started to Ferrari low. Cause the spirit is upon. Elijah level. I want started to Ferrari low. It's my normal level. I want started to Ferrari low. So I'm more than able. I want started to Ferrari low. Cause the spirit is upon. Is upon. I'm not your regular. I know they think say I dey speculate. Big Okulu temper. No be number one, they always carry first. So no need to shiver. When my time come, everyone will believe you. Oh, night. Cause Oluwa is involved. So I no listen to the noise. 20 chariots from my front. But when I begin my run, it go be like say I dey on steroids. Elijah level. I want started to Ferrari low. It's my normal level. I want started to Ferrari low. So I'm more than able. I want started to Ferrari low. When the spirit is upon me, he's upon me, Elijah level. I want started to Ferrari low. It's my normal level. I want started to Ferrari low. I'm more than able. I want started to Ferrari low. When the spirit is upon me, he's upon me. can never find another lover like you. The thing where you do, no man can do. I can never find another lover like you. The thing where you do, no man can do. I can never find another lover like you. The thing where you do, no man can do. I can never find another lover like you. The thing where you do, no man can do. I can never find another lover like you. The thing where you do, no man can do. I can never find another lover like you. I got joy like a river in my soul. My heart is full of praise. I got joy like a river in my soul. I can never find another lover like you. I got joy like a river in my soul. In my soul. My heart is full of praise. I got joy like a river in my soul. I can never find another lover like you. My defender, there's no contender. My life is for your glory. I am yours forever. You fill my heart with
Hello
very
everyone.
good
So
and
please,
perfect
if you are
rest.
part of the finalists for the pitch competition, please ensure that your slides are with media so that you can project it at the time, please. So if you are contesting for the pitch, please kindly send your slides to the media department. Thank you.
You that give me connect, oh. You have made my life a testimony of your love. No one can do. I can never find another lover like you. The thing where you do, no one can do. No man can do. I can never find another lover like you. Oh my God, the thing where you do, no one can do. No man can do. I can never find another lover like you. The thing where you do, no man can do. I can never Regardless of failure, we make success louder. Aye. Yeah, to find me, baby. The fire, and your boyfriend. On this Tuesday evening, I'm scrolling through my Instagram feed. Then I see this pretty lady. She's sanctified, looking so divine. Check them for Twitter. Now so life and light that I see ya. Attention, mama. I can tell that you from the same place I'm from. Zion. Baby girl, let define me. Baby girl, prophesy for me. Baby girl, let define me. Baby girl, prophesy for me. Baby girl, let define me. Baby girl, prophesy for me. Baby girl, let define me. Baby girl, prophesy for me. Yeah. Got a call from my body. He said make a pull up for prayer meeting. I'm on my way. I enter road, I start to move. As I step in at the place now, everybody's speaking in tongues. There is someone by my right side, oh. Guess who I see? Insta baby. Can't you see there's a reason in this meeting that you're sitting next to me? Verily and surely, you must really have a word for me. It is not a mistake in this place, yeah, that you sitting next to me. Verily and surely, you must really have a word for me. Baby girl, let define me. Baby girl, prophesy for me. Baby girl, let define me. Baby girl, prophesy for me. Baby girl, let define me. Baby girl, prophesy for me. Baby girl, let define me. Baby girl, prophesy for me. Baby girl, let define me. Baby girl, prophesy for me. Baby girl, let define me. Baby girl, prophesy for me. Baby girl, let define me. Baby girl, prophesy for me. Baby girl, let define me. Baby girl, prophesy for me. Are you willing? Are you ready? Let me know. Got a lot of wonderful things in me that I wanna show. You're full of God, you're so beautiful. I can feel it in my heart. You blow my mind the way you go. Baby, we will grow together. Take the world together. We will soar together. Couple goals forever. If you believe in this vision that I see, then you should be next to me. Come on, would you be my queen? Queen, yeah. Baby, would you edify? Say a word of prophecy for me, girl. Baby, would you edify me? Stop arguing, doubts and debating. What does the word say?
All right, we're 1 minute away. 1 minute away. Listen, you have friends, colleagues, partners that are outside, please beckon to them and let them know they were 60 seconds away from kick-starting or restarting the session, I should say. At this point, we're probably well energized. Hope you've taken enough water, having a leg walk.
I say with my very eyes, I could not pay the price. The lamb is a sacrifice. So I rejoice in this revelation. My redemption is sure. I speak of his sweet love to the whole world. Give it up, brand new life. Give it up, brand new life. Give it up, brand new, yeah. I'm free, yeah. It's a brand new life. Give it up, brand new life. Give it up, brand new life. Give it up, brand new, yeah. What does the word say? Died for it.
All right,
Out to walk, but I'll talk, yeah. Now we're risen with the sun, reflecting glory of God.
All right, for those of you that are quite present here, we'll probably do a little exercise as we wait for people to come in, because we can probably give them another 3 minutes max to be seated. For those of you that learned something from the last session we had about dealing with impulse, like impulsive actions and all, how many of you are ready for this? Media, can we bring it down a little? Another microphone too as well. Please can we beckon to people outside to please come back in and have their seats. Can we have a second microphone, please?
Heavy, yeah, many power so heavy. What are we gonna do with it early? We gonna rap for the people who are burning, yearning for the
Okay, for this next session, I'll probably just give you like a little piece of advice that could help you, and you can put it to work during the session while it's going on. Anytime you go for conferences and seminars and all of that, what are the very easiest things to do in order to catch up with the points that are being given? You know, when the speaker is speaking, what do? You try to write. What are you writing? Points. Fantastic. More often than not, you're trying to jot down points and say you don't want to miss out points and all of that, which is great. It's a great idea. You know, trying to say or probably rewrite what the speaker is saying and all of that. Okay, good. But have you tried, something a little bit different? Writing in CTAs. You learned the call to action from Paul 4, right? Yes. Writing in CTAs. Do you know what that means? It means writing in calls to action rather than jotting down points. Do you understand that? How does that work? For everything that is being said, for everything that you're trying to gather, there is something that you need to start, there is something that you need to stop, and there's something that you need to continue to do, right? Fantastic. So those are the CTAs that would help you whenever you actually are seated at sessions listening to anybody. In fact, when you have a moment, for those of you that have those times with Pastor Dami and all of that, and he's actually just pointing out himself and ideas, please don't be rewriting his thoughts. Do you understand? Writing CTAs, it helps. What do I need to start doing from what he just said? What do I need to stop doing from what he just said? What do I need to continue to do from what he just said? Do we get it? All right, so you're going to put that to practice for this next session right now. And without wasting so much of our time as we take it on to the very next phase, it's another, fire session right here. And I would like to bring on again, who did a very amazing job the very first time. Please jam your hands together for Uche Agbara. You can do much better than that, Lagos.
Thank you so much, sir. Do you hear how he said you can do much better, Lagos? So there's a bigger audience out there. Come on, guys. You can do much better, Lagos, Nigeria, Africa, United Kingdom, USA, Canada. Thank you guys so much. Right about now, we're going to bring up an amazing person. An amazing person. We all know this person. He is, let me not even talk too much. Media, can we have the profile of our daddy? Pastor Dami is taking the next session, and he's going to be dishing it hot, hot, hot. Honestly, if you've never heard Pastor Dami talk before, if you're a guest here, this is a great time to just bring out your biro and your book, or even your brain self, because the inside are going to be, like, he's going to be dishing out to be a lot. You're going to learn a lot, you're going to take home a lot, and you're going to implement a lot. Amen? Amen. All right, media, please.
Dami Oluwatoyinbo, King Raiser, creative genius, world-class communicator, celebrity coach, pastor of kings, a blend of gifts and grace. He is a dynamic speaker, an insightful writer, a personal transformation expert, corporate trainer, prolific songwriter. Dami Oluwatoyinbo, King Raiser, creative genius, world-class communicator, celebrity coach, pastor of kings, a blend of gifts and grace. He is a dynamic speaker, an insightful writer, a personal transformation expert, corporate trainer, prolific songwriter, and spiritual leader. He is on a mission to empower people across different generations to rise and reign in life. He has created over 20 online programs and published 8 books. His wise and witty social media series, Wise People Wisdom, has gone viral, fascinating many and transforming lives with timeless wisdom delivered with a contemporary edge. He has also created a thriving merch brand from this series, White Paper Merch. Dami is the pastor of kings, kingdom influencers in nations, generations, and systems. A vibrant community with a Christian spanning a local church with a global vision as well as charities and outreaches. He has also released a number of uplifting songs, including I'm Not Alone, the Grace Favor Chant, and the acclaimed single Lit. He is a recipient of several awards and recognitions, including being one of the 100 most influential young Nigerians and one of the 100 most influential church leaders in Nigeria. A mentor to many spiritual and business leaders, he is widely celebrated as one of the most inspiring voices of his generation, and he is in increasing demand at conferences, seminars, workshops, and church events. Dami is happily married to his best friend and teammate, the delectable Todu. They are blessed with 2 adorable sons, Carmine and Bonel, and they are fulfilling
it changed my mind. So it showed me something that the possibilities were endless, but I just needed to learn what the processes were. So in a way, I started making money. At that time, there was something called e-gold, so I would trade e-gold. Now you have crypto and digital money and all of that. Who knows e-gold? Does anybody? Right? So I would trade that, and I would design web pages using front page, and I would sell what they call PLR. That's private label rights. Affiliate marketing and all of that. I studied all of that way back. So I knew all of these things, but I said, you know what? I need to actually make them work. So I'm not going back home. I'm going to crack the code. Thankfully, at the time, BJ2 had just gotten through school, and we just got a partner. He was the coder and the programmer, was the marketer and copywriter. So I said, you know what, let's start an internet business. It's going to be a web hosting business, and we're going to buy all those bundles and packages from American companies, create websites in Nigeria, host people's websites on their servers, right? And then they pay into your account and you do all the back-end operations and all. We're able to generate hundreds of thousands within just the first 2 or 3 weeks. By the time 2 or 3 months. By the next year, we're already operating in the millions. Now I'm talking, this is about 2009, because I went for debate 2009, 2009, 2010, or 13 years ago. So, look at your neighbor, say 1 million is very small. Don't just tell them, look at them eyeball to eyeball. Right? So once I got that, I realized that, wow, if you have a system in place, and you have value, that you have services and solutions that people need or want, and that you're able, like Paul taught this morning, to create a compelling offer. They don't need your face. They don't need your name. Overnight business of our clients, we didn't have an office. We're running that business from a hostel where I met my wife. Right? So as I was making money, I was getting married. Not immediately, but God puts your blessings in bundles. Yeah. But before this time, I went through that time of studying online, sleepless nights. I would forget to eat. I would just do all those videos, pray, but also study. I would watch Brendan Bouchard. Most people just got discovered Brendan Bouchard and Tony Robbins 2-3 years ago. I discovered this guy's 2006, 8, right? So I would binge on their content over and over. And Brendan Bouchard is talking about earning $10 million a year. I mean, it does something to your mind, right? Because he was in his 30s at the time, he's in his 40s now. So I watched all those things, and I had my moments of struggle. So let me give you guys an example, and most people will not believe it. You can't even make sense of it. I remember being in Unilag, after I started learning those things, being in Unilag, and then school went on strike. And when people go on strike, many times people, go to their different homes and all. I can't remember the specific scenarios around that, but I remember that I ran out of cash. And the option was, go and beg somebody for money. But I didn't want to beg. I was like, I know enough. I'm not a beggar. I'm going to create value. I'm going to ensure. And because I did not want to beg, guess what I did? I literally made starch. As in, not starch and bangao. Starch used for color, and that was what I ate. Okay. So when I see people wearing designer clothes and using iPhone, right, to take vanity pictures and say I don't have money, I cannot relate. Have you drank starch before? Pardon? Okay, let's not call it starch. Let's call it African paste. Right? So I understand what it means not to have money and not to raise money without raising it from inside first. Yeah. You can't appreciate my strategy if you don't understand my hunger. Right? You can't appreciate my systems if you don't understand my suffering. So I need to give you the back end. That even though you see all this fancy website now and all this merch now and all this online businesses and coaching, and I talk about people paying me thousands of dollars, like I have a coaching package that is over $1 million in a year, right? So people will just say all these things. They can't appreciate where it's coming from. So before we talk about strategies, one of the things I want to say is you must reclaim your hunger. What are you hungry for? Right? If you don't have it by your upbringing, how can you generate it? Because I get the feeling, like Paul mentioned, there are a lot of people in the millennial generation, Gen Z, there is this premature satisfaction. Yeah, there is this feeling of I'm all right anyhow. No, you are not. The fact that you have 50,000 people following you online does not mean you have the wisdom to sustain the momentum for 3 decades. Right? It doesn't mean you have the creative capital that can transcend the times. I have been able, by God's grace, to transcend the times. I know what it means. I was telling Gogo and DeFi earlier that when I used to go and change money for my online business in Sabo, then I opened a bank account in GT Bank during my IT. Right, well, I was paid 22,500 naira, but I mean, I was making about 70K as I was being paid 22,500 for IT. So when I was doing my IT, even though I was doing the year later, because I filled the prerequisite course in year 2. So from year 2, I knew I was going to have an extra year. But when I went for my IT in year 4, I was making 100,000 naira. Right? But I would go to Sabo markets. Who knows Sabo? Gather money. It took 14,000 naira to make $100 at the time. A dollar was 140 naira. So I would take up 14,000 naira, go to Sabo market, go and change money. Then back then, you had virtual. You didn't even have like MasterCard and Visa card the way you could now. Like you guys are enjoying. You had virtual cards that would expire, I think maybe after 30 days or something. So you have to renew it and all whatever. So I'll go to Sabo market, go over there, and then queue. Sometimes you change all the money, and what you're left in your Naira account is 1,000 naira. So we're going to talk about strategy, but I wanted to say, somebody look at your neighbor, say, I am hungry. You didn't shout that hunger like you're hungry. Question is, what are you hungry for? Because hunger has an object. What are you hungry for? I want to reach 1 billion people. Now, to reach 1 billion people, you need a lot of structures, systems. You can't do it alone. You need to raise people. So you need to raise at least 1 million people with the capacity to reach 1,000 people. So that's one of my hungers or the driving force. So what are you hungry for? As long as you're comfortable living in your uncle's house, eating auntie's food, begging daddy for the extra car, depending on, this person and that person, there are many things that will not get done. Right? So the bigger your appetite, the bigger your motivation. The bigger your hunger, the bigger your drive. So for me, I was hungry. So Brendan would say something, I will run with it on my level. Les Brown would say something, I'm running. Tony Robbins saying something, I'm running on. John Maxwell would say something. Miles Murrow would say something. Pastor Paul would say something. T.D. Jakes. Myself and AY used to watch Bishop Jakes and Noel Jones for hours. So they would teach these things and would try to apply it within the context of our environment. So what do my systems look like now? What does money on demand look like now for me? Now, what they look like now for me is that there's a multiplicity of products, platforms, projects, and programs that deliver cycles of returns regularly. Cycles. So, where's Bukola? Bukola works with me. The last time we checked number of webinar, online content, webinars, trainings, online material that we have in our catalog is about how many? Close to 100 resources. What's the lowest amount we've sold anything for? Lowest. When we're doing offers for about 10,000, if it's like an extreme offer, maybe 7.5. Please just try to multiply 7.5 by 100 times 5. Times 10, times 20. Is somebody saying something? Now, how long will it take for you to create 100 products without you repeating yourself? Those products are about 90 minutes long. So if I'm creating 100 products and 90 minutes long, I'm not repeating myself. As the content is fresh, how much wealth do you have on the inside of you? That means I am mining the resources. Now, for you to have something to mine, there must be something. See, if you want to mine gold, there's a lot of investment they make on the machine. Right? If you want to drill oil, they first invest some millions of dollars on the platform that you're going to take to the side, the exploration side. So before you can tap the gold on the inside of you, what have you paid for? With your time, with your energy, with your concentration, with your focus. right? You don't know what it takes to generate $1 million, but if I ask you what are the lyrics for Buga, you can tell me. Right? If I tell you, give me 5 steps to $1 million, you might not know. But you know the 5 steps of your favorite footballer. Or you know 5 African food steps or dance steps. So that's what my life is right now. Products and services and solutions that can monetize on demand. On the White Paper Merch side of things, we have about 15 designs that are currently out, about 5 are on the works. And there's so much. Songs. Just Google me online and you can take up. So there are songs, there are books, there are coaching clients that pay in thousands of dollars, right? There are organizations that are using my content and pay me for it, right? There are training opportunities, there's one-to-one coaching. So that's what it looks like.
That's a lot. And everyone that knows Pastor Dami knows that he's not lying. As in, you can even see the evidence on that table. Is a lot of product that Pastor Dami has. And even when he's preaching to us on Sundays, he's preaching only a percentage of what he has written out. So it wells inside of him. Thank you so much, sir. That was wonderful. All right, so back. Money. What's the best money decision you've ever made?
Invested in myself. I discovered something that the word says, Ecclesiastes says, God has set eternity in our hearts, right? If my heart is large enough to accommodate strands of eternity, it's going to take eternity to unravel and unlock the possibilities God hid in it. What that means is most people are confused externally because they are not settled internally. And once you lack internal clarity, it does not matter the strategy on the outside. We run kitty and kata. So self-awareness, self-reflection, self-mining, there's something I call soul-scaping, which is landscaping for the soul. So I understand my internal topography. I know what gets me low, what gets me high, right? I know where my waters are, what gets me flowing. I know what the arid regions are, right? So being able to go into those moments of self-reflection and first of all, see the wealth within so you can know the elements on the outside that you need to pay attention to. Right, so a part of it is you pay with attention, you pay with introspection, but the other part is you pay with observation, with mentorship, with coaching. So there's no year that passes. Now I say people pay me thousands of dollars in a year for coaching. That's one of the reasons you can command those kind of fees is that I invest that in myself. There's no year that passes without me investing thousands of dollars in myself. And the truth is, it's very difficult for you to call for something from others that you've not given yourself. It's difficult to charge people thousands of dollars when you have not paid anybody thousands of dollars. It's difficult, right? So invested in myself, and it's myriad of platforms. So podcasts, online programs, my John Maxwell license. I'm a John Maxwell trained coach, and I did that 15 into 16. It cost me $4,500 at that time. It's about 7.5 or so now. It took me about 2 to 3 years to put the resources together. But because I knew that once you're able to do that, then you can command those kind of fees. You can discover more. So investing in myself, going out of my way, cutting down. Moringa said something earlier, and I was leaning over to some people. As I see, one of the reasons we go to an event, and it seems like all the speakers are saying similar things, is because they are vibing at that frequency of wisdom. Right? So on certain levels, you know certain things because you need to know certain things to get to certain levels. So if you're to interface with people of comparative profitability or productivity anywhere in the world, somewhere between 10 and 25% of their principles are the same. Their patterns might be different, their personality will be different, their preferences will be different, but the principles will be the same thing because we vibrate at the energy levels of wisdom, of exposure, of light. We are not Illuminati, but we are illuminated.
That was so good. Thank you so much. Jeez, Pastor LT that is clapping.
Thank you, babes. There's plenty babes in one now.
I'm laughing at myself. All right. There's something I wanted to just point out that you said. So I know yesterday I was thinking about money, and I think I mentioned to you, you asked me a question, I can't remember what it was. And I said to you that I think it was about covenants. I didn't pay attention when I was in school, right? So just one of those people that used to just, I went to school, and I graduated. And one of the things that I said, that at different points in my life, there were people that kind of like just triggered something that helped push me, right? So what are your thoughts about mentorship, about people? Because I know that a lot of people here are really young, and then they just need high rope on the neck, just drag. People need help. People need assistance. This money thing is great. We're hearing all of this, we're learning, but we need that actual handheld help. How can you help us?
All right, we're already helping by putting this together. Please celebrate our leadership team at Kings. I know you can do better than that. It costs a lot to put this together, not just money definitely, but also attention, creativity, innovation, and all. So I'm already doing this. When we sat down about 5 years ago to plot what we're going to be doing at Kings, which is what we're doing, one of the things that we put in the context and the program was training and developing people, creating multiple platforms. So I think it was 2 years ago I said we need to do an expo that will empower people. So this is the fruit of that. And this is just a microcosm. It's going to grow even bigger. Like people will literally travel from different countries to attend King's Business and Career. I'm very sure about it. Right? And many billionaire businesses are coming out of this. I posted something. I said it yesterday when I was going. I said billionaire businesses and everything. So I posted some of the videos today. And one of my friends said, what Kings is doing is amazing. Billionaire businesses are coming out. I said, you see well. Because he didn't even hear what I said. I put music on it, right? But those who are visionary can look at what we're doing on the level and scale it over the next 3 to 5 years. So we're already doing that. So don't despise what we are doing. The second thing I want to say is a story, and some of you might have heard the story before. I think it was Pastor Sam I first shared this story when I went for DLA 2007 or something like that. And he said that there was this guy who was a king, right, of a village. And the guy was very rich and very wealthy. He had an amazingly beautiful daughter. And you know how kingdoms are. The king is up there, then the peasants and all whatnot. So he said, you know what? Anybody who's able to do this task, who's able to demonstrate bravery to a certain level, I'm going to give the person my daughter, my Chesa's daughter, is going to become that person's wife. And so everybody was like, like the Peach Fest we're doing next, right? Everybody was like, I have to be the person to marry the king's wife. The big deal was not just the romantic value. The big deal was also, no taxes, you're the king's son-in-law, royal guard, land, and all of that. So the D-Day came, and the king said, okay, this is the exercise. This is the river. All of you know this river. Inside this river, there are crocodiles. Right? The first person that is able to jump into this river and swim across and obviously come out alive is going to marry my daughter. At that point, the crowd began to thin out. At that point, okay, I want to marry King Judah, but it's not that hard. Now, all of a sudden, next thing we know, somebody was in the river and was just splashing and splashing and swimming and splashing and splashing. And by the time it got to this, everybody was clapping and clapping and clapping. Wow, wow, wow. Somebody did. Everybody clap, clap, clap. Just clap. Clapping. But this guy jumped out on the bank of the river, was shouting, who pushed me? Who pushed me? Who pushed me? Who pushed me? Obviously, he didn't jump in by himself. Somebody pushed him. That is what mentorship does. Because there's a goal you have to marry the king's daughter, but left to you, you will not take the risk. Left to you, you will not do portions. Left to you, you will not stay up all night. Left to you, you will not read that book. You will not pay that price. You will not show up early. But the mentor or the coach is the person who pushes you. But some people, the moment your palm is at their back, they are shrugging it off. You will not go far if there's nobody pushing you. You will not go far if there's nobody challenging you to a point where you wonder, what is it even? So how do you do that? Number one, if you know anybody who's generating the kind of results that you want to generate, the first thing you want to do is to observe them and begin to do what they do. Observe and begin. Don't observe to begin to quote what they say. You can write the quotes, but write like A. Weinstein, and I said it yesterday, even though it was not here. Write action. I think that was the second point I gave. Take down notes with the desire to implement. Do. You have to do. I wish I had enough time to talk about mentor, because mentor is actually the name of a person, right? So when we talk about mentorship, that was actually a noun that became a verb, right? It's about doing. That's someone who creates a system that helps you do for the sake of better results. Now, one of the things that happens with mentorship is that the person shortens your journey, reduces your stress, and increases your wisdom, right? So there are two major ways to learn in life, two major ways. You can learn by mistakes, or you can learn by mentors. When you learn by mistakes, you pay by yourself. When you learn through mentorship, you pay attention to somebody who has paid with themselves. So learning through mentorship is learning from somebody without repeating their mistakes. So many times when a mentor, a leader, a pastor, a coach is saying do this or do that, he may not always be able to expose to you the back-end operations. Like this, when Apple says power on the device, they can't come and explain to you that the reason you should click the power button is because when you click it, there's an inflecting or connecting device that goes to the motherboard and triggers the power button or the third node to the left. That's too long, right? So sometimes you just have to say, I don't understand what my mentor is saying, but I trust his judgment, right? Because if I'm going to be mentoring 100 people, I don't have enough time to explain to you the importance of punctuality, of savings, of showing up on time, of being early, of following through, of social media. I don't have enough time to begin to unpack and unravel that. So sometimes you've got to realize that the instruction is encoded wisdom without explanation. Instruction. That's encoded wisdom without long story, without long explanation, right? When you take medication, the pharmacist says to you, take this 2 pills 3 times a day. Now, the pharmacist has spent how many years in school? 5 years in most schools, plus X if it's Nigeria. That's that extra year, missing results, ASU strike, or long delay, maybe 7, 8 years. Now, the pharmacist knows all the tetracycline, hypocycline, hexaquinone, knows all of that, but it can't come and start explaining to you the reason you should take it after lunch is because it releases after 3 minutes and needs to react with protein or lipids. Doesn't have time. Just take it how many times? 3 times. Now, when you do it well, does it earn you attention with the pharmacist? Can you become friends with the pharmacist? Does he open more room for protracted conversations? This is the reason it seems like some of your mentors have favorites. And the favorites are usually not necessarily the finest or the tallest or the wisest. They are the people who are the most responsive to generic information. Because when I can trust you with the generic, I can give you the specific.
Thank you so much.
So observe. Let me just give another tactic. You observe, go on their social media, like, follow, comment. Train your attention. Don't dissipate your attention. Some of you are following too many people that you will never need. Too many people that are not, you need to weed your social media, right? There are too many things popping up on your feeds that are not feeding you the right diet. By the way, it's called feed because every post feeds something in you. Right? So who you follow is a digital chef. The people you follow, those are your digital chefs. They are the people that are cooking what your mind is eating. Right? So if you don't want to look like the content, don't consume the content. Because there's content that causes discontent. And before you know, you don't have enough money to buy a tent. And how can you spread your tentacles?
How how Pastor Dami is every time, guys. It's how it is a good time to applaud Pastor Dami. If you've been scoping Pastor Dami, I'm like, this guy is my mentor. Please come and apply. Pay money for mentorship.
By the way, there's another thing. If they have mentorship programs, coaching programs, training programs, pay for it. Oh, I can't afford 1 million or whatever. The one that when they do promo for 10,000, do that. Do you understand? Get close to the nucleus of their wisdom. The nucleus, that's the center, as close as you get without damaging your integrity. In some cases, your mentor might not have the specific mold for what your own unique flavor is, but get as close as you can to apply that. But if it's a true mentor, you want to take in as much as you can and pay with money, pay with time, pay with attention and energy.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. As one of Pastor Dami's proteges.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I trust Pastor Dami. So there's not a lot that I know, but like if he says something, I'm running with it. I've shared severally that I came home to Nigeria, I was just lost. I don't even know what to do with my life. And I just said it here earlier that there are different points in my life that I just needed. Maybe I didn't know that I needed people, but people were sure there to push me in the right direction I needed to go. So what I'm enjoying now, what I'm seeing now is because of Pastor Dami. So when you just have that person that, okay, this is the person that looks like where I'm going, grab with your full chest. And I mean, it's just one of those things that just learn. You want to learn, or you want to grow. There's a picture that you're heading for. So please.
Share maybe a few things about how mentorship has helped me so that people can see the journey. So some of you, I think on Sunday I shared about how I bought my first parcels of land between 2009 and 2011. Now, why was I driven to that point? Because my mentor pushed me. He didn't push me directly. It was run a certain series called By the Future. Pastor Paul was preaching a series around 2008 called By the Future, something negotiating your future. That was what I was preaching about. I think Mr. Otabila had preached something about By the Future. So there was all these things in my space. Pastor Matthew used to host an event at Surulere, the stadium. Yeah, and they would bring Mike Murdoch and Mouse Moreau, right, at the time. So Pastor Matthew was talking about real estate. Mike Murdoch talked about real estate. Mouse Moreau speak about real estate. And Pastor Paul now was there preaching about real estate. Somebody say mentorship. Pastor Paul shared a story about how his father bought land, I think somewhere around Victoria Island, 30 years prior. Was talking about buying land, buy cheap, buy the bush, buy, just buy. I'm like, I don't have a lot of money. I'm still going around speaking. People pay me 50,000, all of that. How do you buy land of millions at the time? So he said by the time they split it, because his father wrote some instructions on the will, they shouldn't monetize the land until I can't remember how many years, and they should share it whatever way. By the time they split it, I don't want to give explicit figures, the chunk of money that came to him was tens of millions, right? I fired off something in my head. So I had the first opportunity to buy my first portion of land in, where's this place? Going out of Lagos. No, very popular place. No. Going out of, Lagos to Ibadan. About Mowe. Yeah. Mowe, I think it was 250,000 naira at the time. And somehow I missed it. There was an instrumental payment thing, but somehow I missed it. I said, this next one, I am not going to miss it. Right? So what I did, the first parcel of land, I was able to sort of like put the money together, right? The second one, there was an instrumental payment plan. Why did I do that? There was a mentor's voice in my head. I'm not even sure Pastor Paul would have come to look at me and said, Damila, go and buy land, because he knew I was in school or just out of school, right? I don't think so. But that's what I'm saying about generic, because by the time Pastor Paul saw me or noticed my gifts the way he did, I was already embodying what he had been teaching generically, right? So there was already the tribal connection. Are you following this? There was already a tribal connection. As an example, how did I get into corporate training? Something I always wanted to do, right? And I started doing stuff on my own level. People already pay me some money. I was already hosting events And I think this event would be like 2009. 2009, my first formal event, where I was getting paid some tens of thousands, all of that. But how did I then get into the point of, okay, you're training organizations and banks and all whatnot? Another mentor in my life, Fela Drotoye, called me one day and said, I have a training job. I've seen what you do and all of that. I need you on board. I'm not going to be available. That was the very first time I met Paul Fu. So Fela called three of us. Michael, I don't know if that's in South Africa. Michael, I still have a picture. Maybe I'll show you guys tomorrow of myself, Paul Fu, and Michael. I think I've shown that picture before. Is it Bukola or Duni or GB? Where's GB? Is GB there? Because GB saw me downstairs doing some work. Saw me wearing a watch in that train that I still have. I was like, Peter, look at neighbor, say stop changing things that don't need changes, so that you can have more than change in your pockets. So 2010, my wife will remember because the training was at a GT Bank training school. So after I was done, I would go and see my wife in the morning before going to the place. Before going there. And where was I coming from? Awoyayafa. In the morning to come and train bankers at 7:30. And I'll still stop by. So what time would I wake up? Do you look at the neighbor and say, do you get? To move from, do you know what Awoyaya is? Awoyaya, far. Is at least an hour and a half. So what time would I wake up to meet the training? Because I want to train banks. Have you trained yourself to wake up early? Do you want to train banks or do you want to drain banks? I'll still stop for some 10-15 minutes, see my girlfriend at the time, and then go to the bank and all. But what happened? So fella told me, I'm like, I've not done this before. I said, I know your gift. Somebody say your mentor can see what you can't see. He said, come to my house in VGC. We'll spend maybe 2 or 3 days in his house, walked us through the curriculum, and said, this is what you do. This is how you do it. This is how you guide. JB, you just missed the moment I called your name. Right? You do all of that. Right? And boom, do you know what happened? Paul Fu, Michael, and myself, we had never trained together. Never. But I'm not sure I've seen that much chemistry in any training room again. Why? All of us had been following FD. So we had an element of his philosophy and his spirit. And so when you put children of the same father together, there's a catalysis. And all of us were hungry. So put hunger and intelligence and passion and a great mentor. Fire everywhere. You know what FD told us? He said, man, I wasn't there. I don't know what you guys were doing. But this guy said, fella, bring these boys back tomorrow. We are fine. Sorry to say, but we did not really miss you. And see, mentors want to hear that. That I was not there, but everybody was fine. So the mentorship has helped my life. John Maxwell read his first book when I was a teenager called Win At. I was about 13 or 14. Miles Monroe, I wish he had not died when he did. Because one of my plans would have been to fly. I'm still going to fly to Bahamas anyway because he's one of the top 2. In fact, he's the top voice in my life right now. Right? And so I read his book as a teenager. And then, I read Win At. That's John Maxwell as a teenager. Then read Purpose and Potential and the Power of Your Gift when I was 17 or something like that. And what we're doing in Kings, you can find the DNA. If you know Dr. Miles Monroe, you can find the DNA of his work in what we're doing. It's just a greater level or a bigger level or more flavors that speak to the generation. So a mentor is a picture of your future who's also a guide to your future and a bridge to your future who's also a vehicle to your future. You get there faster with less stress.
Thank you. This was a good time. Come on, guys. Thank you so much, sir. That was wonderful. Can we go back to money, right? Why are people not making money?
Good. 3 major things. Any financial struggle is in one of those 3 levels. Number 1, a lack of financial intelligence or insufficient financial intelligence. There are 3 major clusters around any cyclical money problem. Lack of financial intelligence. You don't know what you don't know. Now, because you don't know what you don't know, you need to at least know somebody who knows more than you. So it can help you not only know what you don't know, but know that you don't know it. Because, assumptions can complicate your life. Right? You know that breakdown of to assume. Let's not talk about that. Right? So you don't know what you don't know. So you're like, it's not to drive. I remember what someone said, I'll never forget. So what do pastors even do? It's not just to read Bible stories during the week and come and repeat it to us on Sunday. I said, Ogberioma. In other words, the uninitiated is ignorant. Right? He cannot. He thinks that's what pastoring is. Okay. That's not the church. Right? So many times you don't know what you don't know because you haven't experienced that. Everybody thinks having a baby is cute until you become a mother. Right? Everybody thinks so. Everybody thinks that being a speaker on a platform is great until people slide into your DM and request what you spent 1 hour teaching. And they're asking you the question you just answered. And maybe some money on top of it. Right? So financial intelligence is so key. That is something that I think should be incorporated into our schools. Right? Anything you're doing, that's why for those who have attended Dream Academy, you know that there's a core pillar in that place called commerce, which is the business of making money through your dreams. Because I realize people have dreams and big ideas, but what is the financial intelligence behind it? Financial intelligence starts with the generic or the basic or the fundamental to the specific and the particulars. So it talks about money models in general. There are all kinds of revenue money models. There are two broad streams, asymmetrical and symmetrical. In other words, symmetrical is the consumer, is also the client or the customer. Asymmetrical is the customer, is not the consumer, right? Some people don't even know that those money models exist. So you're trying to sell to the consumer who does not have money. That's a lack of intelligence, right? Your marketing is skewed. You're trying to sell to somebody who has the money but does not need it, or rather you're trying to sell to somebody who needs it but does not have the money. So financial intelligence is not just it's not just about savings, it's not just about investment. No. What are the particulars? How does that affect me now? So let me give you an example. I've been making money online consistently since 2008. But the way you make money now is different from the way you make money back then. So 3, 4, 5 years, if you follow some of my friends in the industry, Steve Harris and Bankole Williams, 3, 4, 5 years, you will see them always posting, I'm now going to a bank, I'm now going to this one, Steve told us a story at Dream Academy about how one day he was going to speak, right? And then he saw an elderly guy, I think must have been late 50s, carrying his portmanteau about to train, and was like, I don't want to be going from bank to bank when I'm in my late 50s like this, so I need to change my model. So he took his empathy a lot more serious. I've been doing it for years. He became more aggressive online. So the way to make money in consulting back then was you go from bank to bank to bank. But Paul right now is leaving this place. He's going to do an online session. Are you following? Trisha Beast comes into the industry, and then it makes all of us look like we didn't know what we're doing for 7 to 10 years, because she comes with a corporate intelligence and a deeper understanding of financial models and scaling, and takes what we're doing, or even, no disrespect, a fraction or less than what we're doing, and scales it, boom, and then makes tens of millions within a few weeks. Are you following? That some of us used to be happy we made in a year, right? She does. So intelligence is more than generic, which means you don't have enough time for all this paraquoism and jumping around. You have to invest in your time. My wife was telling me earlier this morning, said, single people need to maximize their time alone. You need to, right? So no more random, Elegushi Beach today, Ikate Beach today. You've gone to Ikate Beach, but do you have land in Ikate? If you don't have the full land, do you know there's joint ownership? There's co-ownership. That with 500K, you can be a co-owner. Some people don't know. Don't let me talk about myself too. I don't like talking about my possessions. No. Let me just speak generic. There are assets and places that I don't have sufficient money to buy the whole of it, but I own a piece of it. And that piece is several millions, but it's a piece of it because of where it is. Right? So you don't have that much time to be random and be going up and down. So number one, financial intelligence, you have to study. You can be a great surgeon, but you run your hospital down because you are gifted at healing people, but your bank account is sick. You can be a fantastic therapist, coach, but you don't know the model behind. So number one is financial intelligence. The second reason people struggle is financial planning, a lack of financial planning. In Kings tomorrow, I'm going to be teaching on portions. It's so important. Portions, you must plan. Abundance is not an invitation to carelessness. Abundance is not an invitation. You must plan. You know, you must plan. My wife knows when we're thinking about figures and things we want to do in the house and all of that. I'm like, must we do that one now? Can that one wait? This is what we need to do now. Let's put this money aside now. Let's buy this one now. Let's invest in that now. Right? Some things can wait. So you plan. Now, you know that quip, those who don't plan, those who fail to plan, they plan to. It's actually, let's take it further. It's not as if they plan to fail. They're already failing. Yeah? And how do I know? You are made in the nature of God. And Isaiah 46 verse 10 says that God, he commands the end, declares the end from the beginning. So planning is not being unspiritual or being carnal. Some people feel like, no, don't plan. No, that's unspiritual. Can you be more spiritual than God? No, God is spirit. He's not even spiritual, he's spirit. But he plans. So planning is spiritual. Planning does not mean I lack faith. You say, how can you plan now? Do you know what will happen in 3 years? That's the whole point. See planning not just as contingency. See planning as co-creating with God. So don't see plan as, if this one doesn't happen. No. See it as you co-creating with God, creating multiple levels of possibilities for yourself, your family, your work, your assignment, and those who are dependent on you. Right? So I plan a lot. I'm always sketching, drawing, charts, graph, circle. Now I've imported it to Kings, right? Or exported it to Kings. Tables. What does this mean? This one. Framework. Now, every framework I have taught, deployed, sold to a bank, I first of all extracted from my life. I'm trying to understand it better because the more complex it is, the more difficult it is to run with. It's difficult to commit to confusion. Right? So you've got to separate. So planning, what goes into my makeup? What goes into entertainment? What goes into traveling? What are the priorities? Because planning is not a function of resources. Planning is a function of priorities. Right? So if people feel like, what do I need to plan? It's not just 10K. There's no need to plan around 10K. When I have 10 billion, no. Planning is also a muscle you build. Right? So planning is about priorities. You have 10K, what are my priorities? Right? Am I buying food? Am I registering the domain name? You know, I spoke about selling domains. Many 2 or 3 months ago, so I haven't done anything about it. I think Dooney was in the office. Is Dooney here? Dooney, Bukola was definitely in the office. You guys, come real quick. Let me just ask you a question. I showed you some domains that people have up for sale. Do you remember any figures that they were selling those domains for? It wasn't up to $1 billion.
Millions. Yes, there was one that was up to $1 billion.
Millions in naira or millions of dollars. There was one about $1 million or something like that. But most of them were tens of thousands of pounds. Domain that you buy for $20. Right? So the possibilities are there, but do you have a plan? Now, when you go from oil and gas to entertainment, to culture, to that, you don't have a plan. You don't have a plan. I released my first album 2 months ago. Thank you to everybody who's been streaming and downloading. Thank you guys. I appreciate. 2 or 3 months ago. DeFi, when was the first time I told you about releasing an album? No, it can be. When I told you, when I told you, remember we were going to Ibadan one time, and before I'm Not Alone came, that was not 2 years ago.
Expressions that you mentioned that you were working on.
Yeah, and that trip was 20 when?
That was 2018.
2018, 2019. Right? So I say that album cost me, I think, between 6 and 7 million naira. It's a lot of money. There was a plan for it. It did not meet me unawares. And not only was there a plan for it, there was a plan to get the money back. We're about 50% into that in 2 months. Go and ask people who do creative projects. You don't recoup your money back. You don't get 50% in 2 months. But I had a plan that before this year is over, that must come from that project. If you can plan well enough, you can earn well enough. GB knows. GB has some stories. Maybe if you get close to him. GB came to Dream Academy, I think 3 years ago, right? And we know the circumstances under which he came. When I see some of the things he's doing, and Paul called him out today, right? He's doing and how he's applying this. I'm like, okay, somebody's getting somewhere, with this, right? So if you can plan well enough, you can earn well enough. If you can plan well enough, you can save well enough. If you can plan well enough, you can invest well enough. But let me tell you something. Planning is tasking. Planning is challenging. And planning is vulnerable. Because planning starts with where I am right now. Planning has to confront the debt I have. Planning has to confront my carelessness for the last 3 years. Planning has to confront my laziness. Planning has to confront my carelessness, my lousiness. Proper planning means I must be naked enough to say, guy, try. You've wasted time, you've wasted money. But where do we grow from here? Planning means I say no to a lot of things. There are many things I can afford, but you will not see me driving them, wearing them, holding them, using them, pasting them, and there are things I have you will not see in the public. Because planning means that I am willing to have stronger foundations. And I'm not just excited about pouring the newest paint on a house that is not well done. And number 3. So the first thing is, most people, we're talking about money, why they struggle. The first thing is, they don't have the intelligence. Number 2 is planning. Number 3 is discipline. Because you can have a plan. In fact, I can create a plan for you. A strategist can sit with you and say, this is your roadmap. There's something I've wanted to do. I'm just careful what I commit to now. I want to create like a 12-week roadmap to help people make their first million. Because it's so easy. But when you put in a roadmap, they need a guide, right? How many of you will be interested in that? Let me just do like market survey. See, people are not even sure. Who will be interested in that? Bukola, take notes of the faces. Maybe we'll do it when we launch our office. Why is the office taking so long, such a long time? When you sit, you know why. Right? So we can create a map for you and a blueprint, but if you lack the discipline, you're not going anywhere. Right? Planning is the roadmap. The discipline is the driver's intentionality to not break traffic rules. To not be texting as you are driving. So a paved road does not guarantee arriving at the destination. Sir, this road is bad. Are you a good driver? Right? That's the discipline. And a lot of discipline is restraint. Reeling yourself in. What don't you do no matter what you have? Where don't you go no matter who's pressuring you to? What don't you spend? What are the limits you spend on a phone? For how long? In what period of time? Right? What it means is, if you don't have those kind of limits, the new iPhone, you always buy it, even though you buy it in deficit. And then you buy a phone of 500K, but be raising money to buy a camera your business needs. Your plot of land will be on your head. You'll be carrying it everywhere. It's called Wivon. I don't have money for land. You do. You brush it every day. You hang it every day. You put it on the mannequin. But you are not man enough and keen enough. Are you seeing? So the discipline. Now, this is the hard part. And this is where many people need paid coaches. Or a paid accountability partner. My wife currently, in one area of her life and her commitments and her goals, she has somebody that's collecting her money. And I've said to that person, collect it and give it to me. Right? So it's not a coaching arrangement that they have, but it's an accountability arrangement. which I respect and I honor and I love. Because most of us, we don't have our discipline muscles developed well enough in certain areas. So almost all of us are disciplined in certain areas, like if your goal is to sleep for 8 hours, wow, you keep it up. You need no accountability to snore up a storm and drool up a dam. I mean, if it's to eat 5 times a day, no coaching required. So all of us do certain things well on certain levels, but when it comes to certain areas like money, because we've never really been taught how to, our parents never gave us the conversations, schools were never exposed, we were ingrained with a culture of struggle, it was never enough. So our rhythm already predisposes us to insufficiency, no matter how much the inflow is. Are you following? So if you struggle with discipline, either get into a coaching community like Global Greatness or some other coaching communities, right? Get into something that puts you on a schedule, right? That puts you on a rhythm. So Global Greatness is my coaching community. We have a monthly online meetup. Then every Monday there's an email talking about your goals. And every Friday there's a phone call from my office saying, have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done that? Because many of us, we catch the fire at an event, but we lose it a week later. And you don't boil yam by throwing the yam inside an inferno. You boil it by keeping the heat on it for a protracted season. So after an event like this, where's the fire in your butt? Ask your neighbor, say you need some fire on your behind. You need somebody prodding you, poking you. I'm not talking about physical assault. Right? Just So those are the 3 major things. But the sponsor for these 3 things, and I said it earlier, is what vision are you hungry for? Is your goal big enough to compel you to get financial intelligence, to get proper financial planning, and to pay the price of financial discipline?
We'll soon do tests now. What did Pastor Dami just say now? What are the 3 things? If you don't have money, what do you need to do? Tests. Number 1, what should you have?
Intelligence.
Number 2.
Planning.
Number 3.
Discipline.
What is now the thing that's...
Let me give you an example. How many of you know that somehow, you find food to eat every day? Have you noticed? Why? You're hungry. So God has wired the human species to be able to drive itself to at least sustain what it needs to fill its hunger. So because you're hungry to eat every day, whether it's begging or borrowing or raising money or complaining on social media or sliding to DM, you get it done. Imagine if you're hungry for $1 million. You will get it. Many things that are pen in your life, you're not hungry enough. And it's difficult to be hungry when you are pretending amongst people who are already full. This is the reason you need a community that provokes you. You need conversations that challenge you. You need people that make you feel like, guy, how far, wake up. And many times those communities will appear intimidating. They will appear, but it does something to your mind. It does something to your mind. You need to be hungry. I'm speaking a lot about coaching communities because it's a mistake. One of my mistakes I made, and I told my wife this many years ago. I said I wish that when I started doing trainings in 2008, I already got people in a coaching community or a mastermind or a group for 2 major things. Number 1, for their own good. Most people don't have the disciplines and the rhythm to implement what you have taught. Number 2, for my good, because when you have a coaching community, then the returns and rewards, there's a product suite or a service suite. So it's almost like Apple. You buy iTunes, right? You spend $199. Then subscription, maybe $9 or something. Then you buy voucher, $100. Then you buy iPhone. So what's that? The first thing, iPod, $199. Then you buy Tab, 499. Then Mark 2. So if you're in a coaching community, people can move on and on and on and on. Let me give you an example. So in the coaching community, we have about people from 6 or 7 countries right now. 3 of them, where's Bukola? 3 of them, the third person just had a baby in the last 6 months. So you see people, somebody shouts, you are not hungry enough. 2 of them are in the UK, one is in Abuja. They are hungry. Nursing mothers. My coaching calls are 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. Right? But they will be on the call. Oge just had a baby. Not this Oge. 2 months ago, he said, please, I still have to do my assignments and my to-dos. In the UK, where some of you want to go. Because if you go to Canada and you are not hungry, you go to UK, you carry your hunger everywhere you go. I was in Lagos, I was hungry. I went to London, I was hungry. I've traveled to 9 or 10 countries. Hunger everywhere. Back, I'm still hungry. Right? So the vision has to be big enough. It's difficult for you to eat well when you don't see the future. When the angel woke Elijah up, he didn't say, Elijah, wake up and eat because the food is good. No. He said, arise and eat, for the journey is far. So the motivation for your diet is the journey. Where I'm going to be coaching and counseling kings, literal kings. Kings are rising from there. But also politicians and kings. And they're going to be calling me, right? Oh, there's a problem in Qatar. Who can solve the problem? There's a problem in Germany. So I can't sit in those private rooms, right? I can't sit in those private rooms and be empty or pedestrian. I also cannot be posting everything I own, accomplish, and achieve now. Right? Because I know I'm going to get to a point where I've already entered some of those rooms. There's some conversations that have happened that I cannot publicize. Some gifts you have been given that must not be told. Some people are not there for selfies, but some people, everything is a selfie. So when you sit with the king of Saudi Arabia, you want to take picture, not knowing that there's protocol. So the training starts now. The mind has to be big. The vision has to be huge. The hunger has to be palpable.
Hunger has to be palpable. Thank you so much, Pastor Dami. Hope you guys have your questions for him because we're far behind. What? Okay. GB. All right. No, wait. So chill. Calm down, GB. Hold on. Peter, do you want to take one more question from this, or would you rather just
let's take one more question and then.
All right. Let me find one hard one.
The business pitch is next, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure if somebody's listening right now, you use some things I'm saying in the business pitch and give you an advantage.
Ojoro. All right, let me just find one quick one. Blah, 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 blah. All right, generic. Would you want to give us an advice? Would you want to just, something that can, everything you've said has gingered us, prompted us to do something, but can you just give us something?
All right. Very practical. I'll say this again because, sometimes people need to hear it 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Anytime you want to change your financial level, anytime, and this is a good time for you to do it,